Well, we are talking constitutional amendments, which is probably a segment that is long overdue, but Drew Landry, a familiar face to Talking Points, is here today to discuss all of this. At this point, the only thing that we have ahead of us is Election Day. Early voting is passed. This is one of the least sexy elections in a while because we're not really choosing a leader. We're people. We like people on a ballot.
Yeah.
We like personalities. But it turns out there's a lot on the line for this election. 17 large life changes, in fact, for a lot of Texans.
Yeah, 17 amendments, which that's a lot.
It is.
And it requires the voter to know what they are. Requires the voter to be informed as to how they can impact their lives. And that's a lot to ask out of a voter. I mean, if it was like 4 or 5, I think that would be more reasonable, but 17, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think it speaks to the amount of conversations, the variety of conversations that were being had in this legislative session. So many people came with, I will get this done, level priorities. And they happened, but now we're in this place where voters have such a large gamut to go through.
And I also think, I mean, I like what you said there. I also think it's the fact that when we go back to that whole session with the Democrats saying we're not going to, you know, we're going to block a lot of your constitutional amendments proposals, and then the Republicans said, well, what about property tax stuff? What about water stuff? What about this? And then they kind of put them back in the corner to really say, well, how can we not do something as popular as homestead exemptions and things for dementia funding and other homestead exemptions and all this sort of thing. So they were kind of, you know, put in a corner there to really figure out, are they going to stand by their claim, or are they going to have to be more reasonable?
Well, you're right. I mean, what are you going to do? Not have people get property tax relief, not pay for dementia. And I like that you bring that up, because there are so many times when I, as a reporter, am going out and I'm saying, okay, what does this proposition mean? Who's for it? Who's against it? Trying to get the lay of the land. There were a couple of amendments on here that I really had to search for people who were opposed to it. Things like this dementia research, and you know, it's based on the Texas Cancer Institute, which is already so successful, second largest cancer institute in the nation. They're modeling it after that. There's not a lot of people opposed to it, but so we'll see some easy things on this ballot. But if I'm looking at this and trying to kind of summarize, is property tax the theme, or what's really the theme of this ballot?
I think there's several themes to it. I mean, there's one that is of absolute necessity, and that is the water issue. That's Prop 4. And you know, I'm not here to say who, you know, to vote for this or vote for that, but water is a nonpartisan issue. It's, you know, we need it, and so it's really tough for me to think as an analyst to think, you know, how would you be against something like that? But you know, that's something that Senator Perry is very much adamant about, and he deserves credit for that. But there's other things on here that are very much on the political, you know, stab I'm getting you at here. Like I think it's Prop 16 or 15. Where it talks about the being a U.S. citizen to already vote, where that's already the law. Where you also have things like these bans on things like the capital gains tax and the death tax or the inheritance tax. Those are things that we don't have. And so you ask, well, why are they there? Well, they're there because of the whole political game that was had between the Republicans and the Democrats throughout this session.
One final word for someone headed to the polls and a little overwhelmed. What would you say?
I would say, you know, Texas law lets you take in something like you just wrote. And so you can take in a little cheat sheet if you want to think of it like that. Don't get overwhelmed. Take a deep breath. Of course, that's easy to really say than do. But just one at a time. And I encourage everyone to go exercise your right. Go through all of them. Please don't get that fatigue and roll off your ballot. But just one by one. There's no time limit. No, you know, you don't get an extra bonus point or a bonus vote for being done in 30 seconds. Or no one's going to take it away if you're there for an extra 10 seconds or something like that. So take your time and utilize your right. And so that's what I encourage you to do.
Yeah, and watch this over and over so that
Yeah.
hopefully you actually know what to
Replay
expect.
this episode.
Yeah, hopefully this is helpful going into an election week. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.